Should you bother writing native desktop apps these days when a web UI can do just about the same things? Even in circumstances where you want to create a desktop-first app, you may be best served at this point by creating an app that uses a web interface instead of a platform-native GUI. Let's look into why. When we talk about a platform-native application, we're typically talking about something with a GUI that uses that platform's native GUI toolkits or resources. Toolkits like GTK offer ways to create native-looking GUIs cross-platform, but at the cost of depending on GTK, which can be a large dependency with licensing restrictions, and at the cost of needing to learn how to design interfaces using GTK's widgets and tools. But if you elect to use a web front-end for your app, you can leverage the far bigger and more flexible ecosystem of web components for your UI. Just about all the GUI functionality you could ask for is available as a web component of one kind or another. Creating an app with a web front-end does require dependencies of its own. Typically, that's a framework like Electron, which bundles a browser engine with your program. A common complaint about Electron and similar technologies is that they can result in a big deployed artifact, 80 megabytes or more. But with native web views becoming common across operating systems, the movement is towards having such tools use an existing web view, meaning the resulting deliverable is much smaller. Web components can deliver just about any user experience you can think of at this point, and often without leaving performance on the table. Interactive 3D, for instance, or high-speed computation with WebAssembly are all things supported by modern browsers. And many common integrations with the larger system, like printing or working with the system tray, also have support. Now, one possible complication is managing state between the UI and the backend of the app. Depending on how complex the UI is, you might need to draft in one of the existing front-end JavaScript frameworks to get that job done. But it's entirely possible a simple vanilla JavaScript approach can work just fine. Now, all of this said, where does it make sense to make a truly native desktop app? Well, one common scenario is when you're doing something specific to a platform and its APIs, or when you want as little as possible between your program and the user, when you don't want the behaviors of the browser getting in the way. For instance, many people complain about the memory footprint of Electron apps. That can run to hundreds of megabytes, where the memory footprint for an app that uses native widgets can be a fraction of that. That is a legitimate gripe, and while Electron-style apps can, in theory, reduce their memory footprint by using a system web view, it's still a work in progress. Now, that said, the native components used for your program are typically only a small portion of the total code. For instance, one of my favorite utilities on Microsoft Windows, called WizTree, directly reads the master file table of Windows disk volumes to quickly scan a drive for file searches. The only part of this program that really needs to be native to the OS is the component that reads the file tables. The rest of it could be a web UI, as web components exist to create just about every kind of interface component that you see here. So to sum up, if you already have a lot of investment in writing native apps for a given platform, by all means, keep leveraging that. But if you're just starting to develop desktop apps, the web GUI approach, with its expanding wealth of resources, may pay you the bigger dividends in the long run. And that's it for this episode. If you liked it, leave a comment below, and don't forget to follow Dev with Serdar and InfoWorld on Facebook, YouTube, and Infoworld.com.